One, one, one art, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. One shot for the kill, the breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the kills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high, check the movement is here. Yeah, it's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover with the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the go. There's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go.
You're sleeping, bro. Dude, what am I paying you for over there?
Oh, man, I've been here for 12 hours, Paul. What's going on? I thought we were doing this at 8:30 a.m. Oh, I got my monster and everything. I'm ready to go.
You had me there in the comments. I seriously thought you didn't get my text message or something.
I don't know. I woke up at 8:30. I've been logged in. You haven't been here, so and then someone canceled it, I guess. I don't know. Weird. So what's up, Paul?
What's up? What's up, everybody in the house?
A few people actually logged in this morning and was ready for our 8:30 a.m. Live stream.
I didn't
out
see
of that
it
early.
I've been waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning now to get do my YouTube editing and get stuff ready for the stream and stuff like that. And so, because now I got a real big boy job and I can't do everything at work anymore. So, anyways, so it's a little bit of a, I have to give up sleep, but I love doing YouTube, so I gotta make time for it. So. I was obviously sleeping a little bit too much when I set it for 8:30 your time, but 9:30 mine.
Well, yeah, 8:30.
So I set it for 9:30, and I guess I didn't realize it said AM instead of PM. So whatever. Thanks, Shaven with Greg. So anyway, first before we get into anything crazy, say hi to all our peeps here. We got One Vision Ariel, Shelda Art. Thank you very much again for that find. I was at work and I was like, dang it. And then and it was too late by that point. By the time I saw his message, I was like, oh, it's already too late. Anyway, yeah, One Vision. What's up, man? And so I hit a milestone this week. I got my watch hours. I applied for YouTube monetization and they approved it. So now both Kyle and I can take super chats, which is cool. That's really all I care about. I didn't care about turning it on for the ads or anything like that because it's like pennies to the dollar. But I figured, hey, I might as well turn it on because YouTube's playing ads anyway before my video, so I might as well get in on the action, I guess. But
yeah, and honestly, when I put my monetizing on my channel too, like I select the stuff that YouTube's already doing anyways. I'm not a big fan of the like non-skippable ads, and there's a place for those things, and that's just not. for small channels. Really, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
still
if I'm
putting,
cool one day and I
yeah,
have a lot of subscribers, maybe I can turn on that non-skippable ads. But until then, I don't want. People can
yeah.
skip them all they want to. It doesn't matter to me.
Pretty much, I clicked that non-skippable one or that skippable ad one, and because that's what YouTube already puts on the videos anyways, and that way they're just giving me money that they would never give me in the first place. So it adds up though, Paul. You'll be surprised when you start seeing, you know, I thought it was gonna be little, but it brings in a little chunk of
Yeah, I
change.
mean, it's gonna be interesting. I'm probably gonna do a video soon of like what a small channel like bills are. People don't really think about how much it costs to actually run a YouTube channel, and right now I'm pretty much breaking even between paying for restream, paying for music licensing, paying for my email address and all that stuff and the website. So between all that stuff, I mean, I pretty much break even, and
Right.
if I get to buy something at the end of the like pretty much at the end of the year when my I have everything just automatically go to my PayPal account. I try to keep it separate from my home income. Uh,
Mhm.
I look at it and see what I have extra to maybe buy something small or something, but it's usually
Yep.
not much. It usually is a complete wash for now. So,
Well,
what
once you
up?
start adding in those ads, once you start adding in that Google money and then some affiliates, see, like everyone, I think just assumes that YouTubers gonna run around with just stacks of cash on them all the time, and
Oh yeah,
literally everyone literally takes what they make and they put it right back into their channel because that's how you grow channels is just continue to like have products to do reviews on because you're not getting freebie stuff by companies all the time. Like they might send you one every now and then. But speaking of which, Paul,
hey.
I just spent some of my hard used monetizing Google money on something new.
Oh yes, we're gonna. That's one of the things we want to talk about tonight. Is
Mhm.
we want to talk about like cameras. What camera is good for you? Because just because like there's a ton of cameras to choose from. Not everyone's gonna be perfect for you. Not everyone's gonna do what you want. Whether you need an action camera or a point and shoot, depending on what kind of YouTube stuff you're shooting. Everything is different, and I figured tonight would be a great time to kind of go over that, explain why you got that, because you have a Sony full frame camera, you have a ZV-1. Why would you possibly get a 360 camera now on top of all that? And I think there's
Yep.
obviously there's a lot of different things for people to understand what camera they need. But Shelda Art, thanks, man. $2 for me to get the time right. I promise you, I'll get it right next week. Because if I don't, well, we need it. We're probably going to
So
schedule that stream
yep, uh,
tonight for next week because we need to
yep,
start
and
marketing
that's
for it.
actually going to be an 8 o'clock. I'm pretty sure I have to check back with Chris, but that's going to be an 8 o'clock start, I think, for next week because the person we're doing has a bedtime.
Yeah, we're trying to start 30 minutes earlier next week for because his bedtime starts. He's an old fogey. I'm totally gonna make fun of him in the front of the first part of the stream too.
I have a feeling, Paul, that someone is going to make a joke tomorrow next week about your white balance.
Oh, I know it. I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna come in immediately with with it looking all orangey or
Yep.
very blue and purpley, and be like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And,
So
I
for
know he's
those
a
that don't know, like Paul used to be part of the original Dobos Drone Brews live stream, and you had Chris on at one time before, Chris Brockhurst,
right.
and there's just this long running joke on Ken's channel about your white balance on one of your old cameras or something being off. And that was just like I feel like there's two long standing jokes, like running jokes with his channel. And Chris will probably bring up both of those, I would guess. So
Probably.
we'll see. So like for people who don't catch that, that's where that joke's going to be coming from is Paul's
Chris
previous live stream.
will comment back on his videos that I comment on, and he'll always try to bash me about white balance. So usually I try to make fun of myself before he
Yeah.
does. So
You better be checking that thing like solidly next week, Paul. Like maybe pick one of these up from Amazon before next week. These white ball cars. I can't believe that I spent like $20 on this, Paul. Thinking like, what a joke this is going to be. This is not going to be any different than the $5 set I have in the past. But my gosh, this thing is so different colored. The gray on this is not even close to that like $5 set that I have. Like that one's so much darker than this, and like this actually is like neutral, and it's
I
like
wish while you were down here, we could have compared our white balance stuff to see like
yeah,
what the biggest difference is between my rounded gray one and that gray card. I would have loved it. We should
yeah.
have. I know we talked about it while we were setting up one of the shots, but I don't think I had it with me. So
It's a good little $19 purchase for that. I was gonna get the bigger one, but I feel like I can use that wherever I go and just keep it in my wallet. So that's good.
yeah, I think my next purchase might even be that little credit card dealio thing you had. That thing was pretty cool.
Oh, the dot.
The
Yeah.
dot thing, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, let's talk about cameras tonight. So
Yep.
you just got the Insta360 One X2. Currently, it's on sale right now. So if you guys are looking at it in the market, it's probably a good time to buy one. Wow, look at that! Look at the size of his stick. That thing is huge. Ladies, watch out.
These are fun little deals.
That's illegal at Disney.
That is 100% true, unless you're holding it like this, which is honestly, you could still use it, but there's a place for these cameras. That's the thing, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight.
Right.
It's not like people will say like, well, how does this, like, I get comments on videos, like on I did an Insta360 1R video a while back, and people are like, how does that compare to the ZV1? Why would I use this? Or why I would just use my cell phone? And you get these comments and you're like, you can't compare a 360 camera to anything else.
Right.
Period. Like, they are a totally different thing. Maybe you could the closest thing you can compare this to is a GoPro, because they have that action cam look, but certain cameras do different things, and you're using the right tool for the job. That's the point of different cameras. Can you vlog on something like this though? Yes, of course you could, but would it be weird? Maybe. I don't know.
Maddie's Drone World in 808 State. What's up, guys? Great to see you. I got my super chats enabled now. Just saying. Feel love. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't. I'm just playing. Don't. But yeah,
Paul's just excited.
I'm excited. I worked so hard to get that 4,000 watt. I didn't think the 4,000 watch hours would be hard once you got. I figured I'd already have it by the time I get 1,000 subscribers.
Here's the thing,
but I'm
Paul,
not cool enough, I guess.
You did have them. The problem is that you have to have them within 1 year to be eligible.
Right.
So like, you had a lot of videos that did high performing videos over a year ago that kind of fell off the like curve for their like accepting you. So, but you've been over the 1,000 for a while, and you've been able to monetize other than the watch hours for, since you hit 1,000. But
yeah, well, that's the problem too. Is I think one of my most popular videos that got me like, I mean, you look at July last year, and like my watch time was like this, and it has a super high peak, and it's still that way right now. So when July hits, I might go under 4,000 watch hours, which would be kind of bad, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Do you have to keep the watch hours too to stay monetized? I suppose. I don't know how that works. Yeah, you gotta start pumping out some good stuff, Paul, and get some.
Hey, I gotta get up at 5 o'clock every morning and keep grinding. Keep on grinding.
Okay, Sean. Rise and grind. I actually hit a milestone yesterday too, Paul.
You did.
This is crazy. Like, I started my channel like a year and a half ago.
808 State, thank you for the super chat. 808. Of course, he gives me 808. That's brilliant. Love you, man. One day we'll visit Hawaii, or we'll do creator camp in Hawaii. Anyway, go
on. I started my channel like a year and 4 months ago, maybe something like that. And like it's like you feel like it's such a struggle when you see your total views, and you're like, oh my gosh, I finally hit 50,000, and then whatever. And
right.
You get to this weird spot where like your channel kind of just starts getting some traction and taking off, and then like all these milestones just keep happening, and you're just like, by the time you feel like you've like accepted it, you look at it and there's a new one. And so anyways, the other day I hit 350,000 views, which is like absurd how like my brain isn't processing that right now.
That's crazy.
And like total watch hours, I can't remember what it said, but it was a lot. And it was just thinking like, if I love when you think of things in a different way, like when your watch hours is comparable, like if you were to hit play on your channel and let it play straight for how many days, whatever, how many days would that be in watch hours? And like, it's crazy to think that you're like, my channel could run for 4 years straight, and that's how many hours I have on my video. And it's just a weird thought. I don't know. I do like when YouTube sends you little messages in your email when you hit certain milestones, where they're like, "Congratulations, you have a full 747 of passengers that are now watching your video at any given time." And I'm just like, "What? Like,
Right.
what does that even mean?" Okay, I guess
That
so.
makes
That's fun.
So back to the cameras. So
Yes,
what was the main reason you wanted to purchase this X2?
different content, I guess.
What do you see
I
yourself using with this thing?
well, action cams are going to be for moving. Like I have a boosted board that I use in the summer. I want to do some more snowboarding this year, and I think I've been so busy with other things like filming videos for this channel that I haven't gone snowboarding much this year. Um, but now I got to go make a video on this. So guess who's going to go snowboarding?
And you get to use
That's
that awesome freaking hoverboard snowboard. Ugh,
Yep, that's true. I haven't even taken that out this year. It's been stored away all year.
it's crazy.
So like, it's always finding the right camera for the content. And I had a comparison before that I used to say where it's like if you're a mechanic, you're not going to take like a an impact gun to take off like a whatever, like a screw that's in something. Like you want to use the right camera for the thing you're going to use. Like you're not going to take an A7S3 and go underwater with it unless you have a crazy case. You're going to use a GoPro. So like understanding like the kind of camera you need for the type of shot you need is going to decide like what cameras that you should get. If you are doing a lot of vlogging content and stuff, like you probably want to get something that's more geared to being a vlog camera versus something that's more like a red cinema camera or something.
Right.
So I mean that's like obviously that's like an over exaggeration example, but um it's just nothing worse than like buying something you don't need to fulfill something that's not actually using it for. So
So we got a question here from Danny. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. And yes, we would love to answer your question. So first one, and this is coming from two Sony fanboys here, but what camera would each of you recommend? And I think each of us have the same opinion. And it really, first of all, we need to figure out what you're shooting. Now, it looks like based on your next question, you want to start a YouTube channel. So if you're talking about just doing basic talking head shots, like kind of like what you're doing right now with live streaming, and maybe you're going to shoot some product B-roll. I don't know what your channel will be about, so maybe you want to hit that up in the comments too. But um, if you're doing basic stuff like this, talking head, maybe some B-roll shots, a great camera to look at is actually the A7C. I actually own that. I suggested over the A7 III because it's more has more video features than the A7 III. Believe it or not, the colors are a little better. The autofocus has the eye autofocus in video, and they have a great USB streaming function straight out the USB-C port of this thing. It has the digital hot shoe, so if you wanted to use a Sony mic on it top, you can. I've used this thing with a K3M to get XLR inputs. Anyway, it's a great system to start with. I love the little small rig handle. I've got a whole accessories video on the A7C, but that is like it's not crazy expensive, and I think you're still able to find them even though they're not producing them anymore until they catch up with all the chip shortage. But I love the size; it's fantastic. It has a flip out screen, unlike the A7 III. So it's either this one or going up to the big A7. Well, I guess the A7 IV would be the next step up. Um, but and that's a great camera. It shoots 4K 60 which was great for slow mo, and the crop doesn't make a big difference for slow motion. So if you're gonna be shooting a lot of slow motion, it's something to consider. But the A7C still looks pretty darn good in 120 and 60 in HD. Kyle's recent video where he went to the parks and showcased the ZV-1 on the Crane M3.
mhm.
I shot all the B-roll with the A7C actually in HD, and he intertwined it with all his footage with the A7S3, the ZV-1, and the A7C, and you really couldn't tell a huge difference between the full frame cameras at all. Sometimes not even with the ZV-1. So really, all the Sony stuff is really great. And if you can't afford that, then the ZV-1 is a great starting option for everything because it's great vlogging. It's great for in the studio as long as you have enough light. and use an external microphone for your talking head stuff. But I don't know. That's kind of my quick 2 cents. But if you have an interchangeable lens, you need to make sure you save some money for good lenses, because lenses is what's really going to carry you through the system. So if you don't have a lot of money, I would say start with something cheaper like the A7C, get nice lens, and then whenever you decide to upgrade, you can keep your lenses and keep moving on. So anyway, sorry, I totally chewed through that question by myself, but you can chime in, Kyle, and tell me what you want.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if you're waiting to start your channel until you have the right camera, like, I know it's cliche, just start with what you have and start with what you can afford. I always thought, like, I gotta have the best one now, then I'll start. But then by the time you have the best one, then you're already looking at the next one. And then after you have that one, you're already looking at the next one. So like, I started this channel on the A6400. This is like basically the same thing as like the Sony ZV-E10. It actually has a little bit better manual features. It does not have active stabilization. So if you're using, it says you're doing some like sports vlogs. I'm not sure if not having like a steady camera is going to be a very big issue or not, but there's always gimbals and things like that as well. But honestly, like, the look that this camera can put out is not going to be much different than most of the Sony cameras if it's on like a tripod or something like that. The colors are great. 4K does 60 frames, 120 frames a second in HD. Honestly, I use this camera a lot still. I still use this for most of my talking heads, unless I'm using a video that's on about this camera or like APS-C lenses that I'm shooting on this. But I like this because it's a 6K camera that down reses into a 4K resolution, which makes it look ultra sharp, ultra good. In fact, it's actually sharper than the A7S III, which some people don't like, but I think this is a great camera, and you can probably buy these used for like $400 or $500 now, and you can find them. That's the important thing right now, is that you'll actually be able to find something like this on the market.
Right.
Versus like the ZV-E10 is on back order. They're not making like all the cameras that just came out are all kind of on pause for manufacturing because they're just not making them, and they're freeing up like their chip shortages for like the A7 IV that just came out. And
you know, I think the
stuff like that.
ZV-1, since he's doing a lot of outdoor vlogs and some talking head stuff, you know, especially if you're doing a lot of your talking head stuff outdoors, I'd say the ZV-1 is probably your best option. And it seems like you haven't really done too much experience with video, because based on your next question as well. So I feel like there's not a huge investment. It's a great starter camera. You can do all your vlogs outdoor with the built-in microphone that sounds pretty decent. So like maybe if you did any talking head videos indoors, you might want to think about getting that camera and then maybe getting a nice microphone like the new Rode Go 2, or the, you know, if you wanted to go even more bourgeoisie, the Rode NTG video mic. But
which is this.
Something
like
or
this
that
is just like a $50 mic and it works good.
that one. But now that the Rode Go 2 is out, it's like $100. So I just say spend the extra $50-$60.
Yeah.
I think that mic is actually $60 and get the Go 2 now. But yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that you got to consider when you're doing video stuff, because sound is a really big deal. As you know, people will be willing to watch your iPhone footage with good audio, but they're not really willing to stick around for terrible audio.
That's kind of what I was going to say too, is if you want to start shooting your stuff now with a phone, like get your channel going. Your first few videos don't usually get traction. And you'll start getting better, because like nothing's worse than just buying a bunch of stuff and then realizing that it doesn't matter and it like didn't help you at all. And not to mention like if you're going to shoot 4K, you're going to want to know if your like editing station can handle, and your computer can handle 4K.
Right.
When I first started my video channels, I was using like iMovie with like the RX 100, shooting 4K, and then I'd put my footage in there and it would just be like, it'd be choppy as can be, because that computer at the time was terrible. And so like I had my drone, I had all my 4K GoPro, I had all the stuff. I first put it into a video. It took me like 8 hours to like edit like a 4-minute video, because it was just unusable. I had a proxy, and this is the thing, and like iMovie, I don't know how to do proxies and things like that. So
I don't think it's possible in iMovie.
Yeah,
you have to get the upgrade to do that.
The better equipment
Which
you
brings
get.
us to the next part of the question is, do you have, like a watch when watching videos for video editing? I don't have too much personally. I'm not sure about Kyle. I think Kyle does have some, but it's not like
Yeah,
watch through looking at our styles, so to speak. It's more
I have I have one on like how to what is it called? Like how to make a commercial at home. It's like a Aperol bottle on the thumbnail. That's just kind of showing you more advanced things like how to keyframe stuff and center it and have movement within your shots. Because a lot of times I'll do shots that are fixed on a tripod, and then I'll add the movement in post. A lot of people do that too, and that's like little tricks. I use Final Cut Pro. I know Paul does too.
yep.
Those are only for Mac. Otherwise, you're going to be Premiere, and honestly, like I get lost in Premiere, so I just never even tried. So like there's a lot of content out there though. Like I know Devin Jovi or Devin Jovi, Jevin Dovey has like a full out like start to finish how to use Final Cut. I've seen a whole bunch of how to start and finish like Premiere. I would just say once you get all the basic tricks down, then you can kind of start moving into more advanced tricks. And
And I would highly
um,
suggest also checking out Peter Lindgren. He has a great
mhm.
his vlog channel has a great tutorial on shooting vlogs, like pretty much how to make it into a story, because you really breaks down a lot of good points on, like, you don't need
Yeah,
you don't want to tell the camera what you're about to do and then show them. You just want to show them, and your brain can all put it together like the story without you having to say, and now I'm going to go to the store, and then you show
yeah,
yourself getting into the car and going to the store. You can just eliminate you from saying that one point, make it a surprise, like people are like, ooh, what's this guy doing now, and actually tell the story by the shots that you're choosing to put
yeah.
in your video. So it's he has a great video on how to edit that way, because when you're doing vlogs and a lot of that simpler stuff, it's mainly just getting the audio sounding good and making good cuts, and learning
Yeah.
where to cut your videos and finding great music. I can't stress that enough. Music is so crucial. So you're also going to want to probably invest in one of those great music licensing. I choose
That was the
between
first thing. Yeah.
Epidemic and Artlist. Personally,
Mhm.
me, I like Epidemic better because I love their 80s music, but I do like their catalog as well. They have a lot of great stuff. I like that with Artlist, you can use it on not just your YouTube channel, but you can use it for whatever project you're working on. So whether you're doing client
Yeah.
work, and YouTube algorithm doesn't really flag you for copyright or anything on any other channels, but
I think I
I
got
do
like
like
3
that
videos
catalog better
in.
in Epidemic.
I got about 3 videos in on my, a travel channel that I have, my secondary channel that no one knows about. I got about 3 videos in before I was like, I gotta do something. This music isn't like YouTube's got free music you can use. It's awful. It sucks. It's hard to find. You have to download everything. It's weird. And then even like there's free YouTube, like you can go like search royalty free music, and there'll be like songs that you can download if you credit the artist. But then all of a sudden, like that artist, let's say, gets big, and then then all of a sudden your thing's copywritten because it's not part of it anymore. That was one of the first things I did on my channel was like, I need to get a better music catalog. And I went Epidemic because it was actually easier to use. I think it's easier to use. It's easier to search. It's more user friendly, and they have good stuff too. I mean, they all. I feel like they all do, but yeah, as far as cameras, like just start with what you have and kind of go from there. And but it all depends on what you need. Like if you need stuff with stabilization, maybe look more into cameras with stabilized stuff. A lot of
Absolutely.
Canon cameras have some good stabilization. If you're doing a lot of talking head, I would look at a lot of the Sony A6400, A6300. You'll probably want something with some kind of like flip up screen. Like the A6400 has a flip up screen. And I personally like this better than the flip out screen because flip out screens, you look like this when you're looking at the screen
Right.
versus like this is what it looks like when you're looking at a screen on a flip up. So um, that's my 2 cents. The ZV-1's a great camera for that. If you are knowing that you're going to take this long road, long term, maybe looking to something different than the ZV-1. If you're just getting started, the ZV-1's a great camera. It still looks good. I use it a lot in my footage, and you wouldn't notice sometimes the different shots based on what it looks, but it is limiting at some point where you can't get anything other than the look that it gives you.
So I would also see as a second part to this, I think the ZV-1 is a fantastic top-down camera. I personally want one in the future just so I can have, one, a good top-down that's easy to set up and light, and two, I just want to be able to have one I can throw in my pocket and vlog with, or get some shots with my kid and my family whenever I want without having to bring it around my full-frame
Yeah.
camera. So the ZV-1 is as a fantastic
It's
camera, and
I
you
don't.
like I said, you can start with that and then upgrade later when you have the cash, or when you are realizing that, oh yeah, this is something that I'm really enjoying and really getting into, then upgrade. I hate when people have to go out and spend a ton of money on cameras and then they're like, oh, this
Mhm.
isn't for me actually, and then they have all this expensive stuff that they gotta either sell
Yeah.
or whatever and lose money on,
Yeah.
and then
And
it's just not fun. So I don't like to encourage people to spend a lot of money. Just start shooting with what you got and see if you like it. So
yep. And also rent a camera if you need to. There's lots of places you can rent. You can go to lensrentals.com. If you really want to try something to see if it's for you, that's a good way to do it. Another thing, if you are a ZV-1 shooter too, that I like, Paul, is that this thing is super, super small, super light. You pair it with like one of these little like grip clamps. You can literally like attach this to anything and put it. So this is almost kind of like an action cam in that sense, that you can throw on a little grip clamp, throw this on like a sign or a pole or a tree or a branch, and you can get cool angles and cool shots. Like I had that one video where I went to IKEA, Paul, and I put well, that was actually the ZV-E10, but it was still a small camera.
right.
Using this little clamp, I put it in like 9 different angles in that car, and like no one really caught it. No one even said anything. I know Peter Lindgren watched it, and his first comment was like, "How many angles are in this like shot? Nice angles and whatever." But this is something too, like Sheldon Art. If you had a small camera like this with a clamp, you could clamp this like really good spots to get close to like when you're doing paintings and stuff like that. Um, so having like little small cameras like this are really nice as a tool. So like this is not better than the camera I'm using right now, but I use this a lot because I use it in small tight places that you can put a camera like this. So, or even just like setting it on the ground or on a table, like it's sometimes you have to like look at it as, I need something that's this big so I can put it down on something and not have it take up a lot of room. So like I said, different tool for different shots. So
And like I said, it's a great starter camera because it's got a lot of great auto modes. And
oh
if you,
yeah,
like somebody just said in the comments, if you get a really high end camera, it's really going to whip you when you're trying to learn how to use it,
yeah.
especially if you have never shot with video before. And
I'll tell you one
you
thing, the intelligent video on an A7S3, I don't think there is such a thing. You need to know how to use those kind of cameras. And like the auto mode on those things, I don't think look good at all. I think they just, it's like they make a really good camera look average, versus like the auto modes on this camera make it look almost as good as the manual modes when you're completely setting up every shot. So these are like stupid user friendly. That's why they built this camera the way they did. There's a lot of like makeup channels and stuff that constantly use this thing, and there's some cool features in these EV1s that other cameras still don't have yet, and I'm kind of pissed about that still. That why can't I have some of the features from a $600 camera on my $4,000 camera? So
I know it's crazy. He says he has actually. The guy said he has a pocket, DJI Pocket 2. So between your
okay.
cell phone and that, you have no reason to just keep going at it now. And get a camera, in the
Mhm.
future. So
And if you have like 2 cameras too, like when I do use the overhead stuff, there are modes in some editing stations. I can't speak for like Premiere, but in Final Cut, you can, if you're recording like 2 videos at a time with 2 cameras, you click on those 2 shots and then you can right click and go down to like multicam, and then it'll like sync those together automatically. And then in the viewer, you can just change between which camera you want to go with. So like that's like having, if you can get secondary cameras, that's a really nice thing too, so that you can get different angles, different shots. But yeah,
hey,
what?
Jared's in the house. What's up, man? Right tools for the right job. Not going to use a drill when you need a hammer. That's right. So just
Mhm.
because it's the most expensive camera doesn't make it the best for you. So
That's why Jared bought a ZV-1, because he wanted to go out. He
he
wanted to go
wanted
out and do
good
some boosted board
autofocus,
stuff. Yep.
and not that his Nikons don't have good autofocus.
Yeah.
They're pretty decent, but
Well, it's Black Magic, but I don't think it's Black
Those
Magic
Black
leaves the
Magics, yeah,
studio anymore. Yeah.
they look great though.
Oh,
Different tools
they're
for the job.
they are outstanding. So yeah, I'm excited to use this one, Paul. This is definitely not a camera that you would do talking head on. This is definitely not a camera. You literally you go on ski-doos and snowboards and dirt bikes and whatever, and you can clamp these things down to different things as well. I've seen people clamp these to like bike forks and have them stick way outside, so that way it looks like someone else is riding side of you, filming you and stuff like that. So um, you can fake drone shots with these kind of things, which is kind of fun. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go out and use this one. I've used 360 cameras before, but I haven't used this specific one yet. So I think this is waterproof too, Paul. Do you remember if this is?
It is waterproof.
I
Yep.
think the One X2 is totally waterproof.
Totally waterproof. Yep.
So
So
so that'd be nice.
you got a lot of love in the comments, Danny, and so go out there and shoot some stuff. You got some people supporting you here. Thanks so much, guys. Last question: what are your current video settings on your smartphones? Whatever is automatically on my smart. I mean, I don't shoot a ton of video with my smartphone, mainly just for like family stuff, or I do the Peter Lindgren thing. I really like shooting like time lapses and slow mo stuff on my smartphone, just when I'm out and about, because it's like easy just to pull out of my pocket and shoot. And when
Mhm.
you're doing those type of shots in videos, they're nobody really notices the quality difference a lot of the times. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just pull it out of my pocket. I don't have the 13. I got the iPhone 12, so it doesn't have all the cinematic modes and all that stuff. So it just has I just choose the
Mhm.
lens for the shot that I want and shoot it. I will say the
I'm still
stabilization on the phone is amazing.
I'm still using the 10R. So like I'm still old school. The XR, some people call. I shoot in focus, focus, 4K 24 frames a second. You can change your frame rates and stuff in there. I only ever shoot 24 frames per second in like normal speed footage. So if I ever put my camera, like my cell phone footage, into an edit, I'm keeping that the same as well. But you can change that, I think, from 30, 60, 24. So
Yeah,
but yeah, I pretty much I do a lot of photography with my phone, Paul, but I don't really do a ton of video that is stuff that's not like, like maybe I'm videoing my dog or something like that. But as
right.
far as photography, like um I feel like some of these cell phones are really good at doing photography. They all look like cell phones, but that's where Lightroom comes in handy. And I've kind of figured out different ways to make cell phones look not like cell phones by editing certain ways in Lightroom. So
Look at this
but
guy pre-batching his videos. He's got a fake drone shot from the X360 this week. So Insta360.
I had one in my when we went to Mexico, I did a video on the Insta360, and I did one where I walked towards the edge of like it was like a dock or something like that, and over the ocean, and then I like lifted the camera way up, and
And
you
it
can
was
get
the
this.
R, right? You have the
Yeah, it's the R, and like on those things, you can start with the video very like linear and have it go more like fisheye. So if you expand that as you lift up, it makes it even look like it goes higher, which is kind of cool. But I mean, these sticks are like 6 feet long, so I've seen this. I think this company sells like a 20-foot like stick,
wow.
which is like I would think if you're holding it like at an angle, it'd be bending and then it would show the stick. But
Like a piece of bamboo.
these are fun. The only thing, like Paul, you know me, Paul, like I hate editing. Like I like filming and I like putting a video out on like being done with it. That whole like middle part, I don't enjoy a lot of. So like there was a lot of fun filming with this thing because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about, you have to think about where the camera's positioned to like your composition, but you don't ever have to worry about where it's aimed. And then you get home and then you realize that like you can dump all your footage into your computer on Insta360's app on your computer, which isn't as good as the phone. Although like cool automated things really aren't there. Otherwise, you have to sync these to your phone, and then edit them in your phone and then like resync them back out to your computer. Some of that can be kind of a hassle. And like that video, I had like 2 days left to edit before I had to return that camera. So I was just like a madman trying to edit these videos, and I was getting really frustrated that I was just like, I have like 80 shots and I have way too much content here to try to get it done in 2 days.
Yeah, you do a great job of like renting the cameras to see what you like the best.
Yeah, and then so that was kind of frustrating. Apparently, David Manning told me the other day that there's a new little adapter you can connect to these Insta360 One X's, where you can actually put the SD card in there, and it's like, then you take it out and it has like a lightning cable, so you can plug it right in your iPhone, and it's like way faster to
Wow.
like sync to your phone. So I'm gonna have to check that out. We might have to ask. He's gonna be on the show soon. So
Well, that's what I was about to say. So, the little shameless plug here. The next, well, let's look at I need to look at the calendar, but the next 4 weeks we already have pre-booked with our new guests. If you guys are regulars here, we are changing the branding of this stream pretty much. I mean, we are to Creator Camp, and shameless plug, but we are we got the intro done. Kyle did a fantastic. I mean, he's been working super hard to make this like super cool and fun and exciting. And we have 4 pretty big size guests lined up. Can you go ahead and tell us who those are? You have the calendar in front of us?
sure. Well, so next week it's going to be 8, unless for some reason he wants to switch to 8:30. We'll put this thing out like a few days ahead of time, so we actually have some time to tell people that we're doing this. So
We're
Chris
gonna put it out
Brockhurst,
tomorrow or something. We're
yeah,
gonna give everybody a week. We want to market this bad boy.
yep. So Chris Brockhurst is going to be next week on Wednesday. People, I'm sure, like most of these people, I think a lot of the channel people will know from the camera gear world because they are big users. Next week after that, the 16th, is Say Park. That's one of Paul's good buddies. He's got a channel that's been around for a couple years that's doing well. On Wednesday,
Him
the
and I started at the
23rd,
exact same time, and he is just destroying it. So yeah, very good
yeah,
guy.
he's an ambassador, I think, with Jiun as well. So
June,
he's
yep.
getting all the good stuff there. Wednesday, the 23rd, we're gonna have David Manning on. If you guys have a GoPro, I'm sure you've watched at least 50 of his videos because he's a photographer that did wedding photographers that kind of just all of a sudden, I think he probably did a couple GoPro videos and got really popular with them, and then it just
Yes,
kind of
and he
stuck with
likes
his
shooting,
channel. So
like riding on electronic skateboards and all that stuff.
yeah,
So he's just his GoPro, his Insta360 content is just what people
awesome.
really
Yeah,
like him for. And he's
well, he
a
does
fellow
do.
Sony shooter as well, so it's cool.
Yeah, he does do a lot of like photography tutorials and stuff like that too. So, um, then on Wednesday the 30th, we have Jared Spink, who's the host of the Hive podcast, which me and Paul have both been on. He has a podcast, and then he also does have a YouTube channel that plays it's kind of like this format, but it's pre-recorded.
And he's starting to branch out and do other video content related things
Yeah,
on his channel as well. So, I mean, good guy. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not, but looking forward to having him on. He gets a lot of a lot of really cool like big creators on his
he
Hive
knows
podcast.
everybody.
So
Yeah.
he's really killing it with that. So good
Jared,
job,
when
man.
you Jared, when you book a guest, just tell them to do just give them our calendar as well, and we'll just double book. In fact, let's
We'll just
let's
double
just
book him.
yeah, how about if is he still here? Because we should just say we'll pay rent to use his Ecamm Live, and we'll just go
Oh,
in on that with him.
pay him rent. We were talking about we want 4K, but it's so expensive to like to shoot. Yeah, these like the software, if we wanted to use it, is like $50 or something like that, just for no, like 80 or something like that. It's something
Mhm,
crazy. I'm like, what? Just to get, and it's 1080p, where Ecamm is like 50 and it's like 4K. So,
mhm.
anyways,
So another, like we have it. Those are the ones that are booked. I have a whole bunch of emails right now that are like, oh heck yeah, let's do this. And then I sent the calendar and I haven't heard anything back.
right, like Sydney
So
DeYoungson is one of them.
yeah,
Uh,
Peter Lindgren,
Peter Lindgren eventually, Terry Warfield.
Teppo.
Um, And
Hapoya.
I mean,
We have to
and
figure
I'm
out how to do these overseas shots. That we might have to do these on Saturdays,
yeah.
like
Kyle's
early.
been like emailing these people like crazy. He jumped on the. I know a lot of
Excuse me.
people, but I haven't been sending out the emails yet. He's been like doing all the work right now, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing a stream.
Mhm.
Yeah. I need
I'm
to get
trying to
involved.
get Josh Yo, but he's in the middle of a move, so I don't think that's going to happen right now.
And are you
But
trying to get Potato Jet as well?
yeah, Gene doesn't look at emails anymore, so
Yeah, that guy is mad busy.
he's too busy. And the thing with Gene is that it's hard to plan anything with him because he's so in the moment. We're going to do it. It's either now or it's not now. He has a video based on like kind of his ADHD and how he thinks, and so I feel like if you're with him, it'll be one of those emails, Paul, like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight? Can we have you on the show?" And that'll be the time we get him, is when it's just like either right now or
Could boot somebody else
you know,
off. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Um,
we got a lot of big guests, and that's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to be able to like these. If you guys go watch the Hive podcast, like he gets a lot of cool views there. I think his podcast does like really well as a podcast, probably better than his YouTube channel.
yeah.
We also are going to be doing this at some point. We have to figure out how to do it. We're going to be hosting this onto a podcast, Paul. So
Yes.
we're just going to take our audio that we record and put it onto a podcast. So, but my train of thought is lost now.
Well, you were just going over the schedule. And that's all. And
Yeah.
we got some good stuff
Oh,
lined up. So stay tuned. Be in touch for that. We're going to be sending out notifications on our guests.
yeah.
And Kyle and I still have a few things to narrow out. Probably later tonight and before next week, so we can have some interesting. It'll be a little bit interesting format, a little bit different than just talking like this. But it will be a lot of kind of talking around a campfire vibe. We're not going to just talk straight cameras. We want to get to know these creators a little bit more on a personal level than just like saying, "Hey, what camera are you?" I mean,
Mhm.
that will probably end up coming up a little bit, but that's kind of what we're going for. So,
Well, the thing too with having these people on a live stream versus a pre-recorded is that it also opens the floor for questions. So if you
right,
want to ask people like David Manning like questions that get answered, like you now will have that avenue. So I'm sure, Paul, we will have a lot of questions throughout the videos that we'll have to periodically bring in. Like if like I want to try to plan like a spot where it's just Q&A stuff.
right.
But then like if the good questions come in the middle of something, we're going to definitely obviously put it on screen. So
Sony ZV-1 user here. Love the Ulanzi wide angle and macro lens combo. Yep, Kyle has a great video on that.
Mhm.
Love the value for performance. I hate the unreliable adhesive application, but
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with mine. I don't know. I know they send like three, like I have it somewhere here. They sent me a bag with like 3 extra adhesive mounts, and I honestly like I used alcohol wipes, and I cleaned everything perfectly good before I did anything. So maybe that's why I haven't had any problems with mine yet. But I don't know if I'm not like if I'm using it aggressively too. I'm just usually taking it off and putting it back in my bag. So maybe it's just that extra walking around and moving and shaking is making it fall off on people.
right.
I'm surprised though if he says it's like fell off. I've heard a couple of people where if those things fall and they hit the ground, it cracks. Like that wide angle lens is not strong. It will break if it hits the ground usually. So
Crazy,
really love it if
crazy.
Apple. Paul, there's one big thing that we might have to talk about next week too. I'm sure it'll have to come up, but Apple has announcements coming up, I think next week.
A lot of great Macs are coming out, and we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if one of them is a MacBook Pro or not. Because they're coming out with 2 desktop styles, so we don't know if that's a Mac Mini or if it's I don't know if it's 2 Mac Minis or a Mac Mini and an iMac. But and then they're also rumored to, the by the title of the event, they're clearly coming out with some new processor that's faster. So the M2 rumors are coming through. So yeah, that's definitely something to be keeping your eye on.
Oh yeah, well here's my answer for that one, by the way, Paul. Florida heat adhesive fails. Yeah, yep. Yeah, we get some pretty good hot weather up here in Minnesota too. Everyone thinks it's always frozen and cold and snowy. Minnesota is like Florida in the summer, and it's like Antarctica in the winter. It's my parents, when I said I wanted to move to Florida, they're like, you don't want to go to Florida. It's too hot in the summer because they live down there too in
Right.
winters. And I'm like, it's like 5 degrees warmer, maybe most of the time, but it gets to be like 99, 100 degrees in Minnesota all the time. And it's humid as can be here too because we have all these lakes.
Right.
And I'm like, I'll take the 80-degree difference in the winter than the like 5-degree difference in the summer. Like, who cares? So
I mean, honestly, the heat is nice when you're trying to get away from the cold or the warmer weather, but once the summer hits, it is just brutal.
it was
Brutal.
brutal when I wore those black jeans at Disney with you last summer.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking that day. That was crazy.
I was trying to look good, Paul.
Look, this guy, all this guy cares about is looks. I'm at Disney. I'm like, I look like an old man wearing some like high shorts and it's like a V-neck, and I'm just like, yeah, it's hot. It's hot. But Florida boy here, I hate the heat. I gotta leave my house at 7.
That's why I'm going to own a house with a pool, Paul.
Yeah, well, that's right. You need to move down here, get a house with a pool, and I'll come over to your house and use it. It'd be great.
Did Jared dip out already?
Yeah, I think Jared dipped out. That loser.
I was gonna say I'm gonna might be going to LA in April. I was gonna say
That'd be cool.
Maybe stop by his house and say hi. But yeah, so cameras. Today's been a very ADD video.
Oh, it's been all over the place today.
Yeah.
But the main thing we want to talk about is what camera's right for you and answer people's questions. So we've been doing that frequently throughout this. But the creator camp stuff will probably be a little more on topic because it'll be all about the creators, so it'll be easy. So we won't have to stick to a set schedule too much, but we'll have little segments and stuff like that. But yeah.
So he has got a YouTube garden channel. So okay, yeah, you're outdoors all the time. So I suppose it probably has some issues. Yeah, I don't think there's any really other great way to like attach that lens and other than getting more adhesive strips. So
Let's just hope the ZV-2 comes out and it has a wider lens.
I guess I only ever put mine on the camera when I know that I'm like pointing at myself.
Correct. You don't leave it on there, right?
Or like I don't know where it is, Paul, but that Ulanzi, what is it, MT46 or something like that?
Yes, that tripod. That is great.
I like pairing this with that lens is really awesome. But like this, I love this thing, and mine is the Arca Swiss plates. I'd have to find a Swiss plate, but being able to have that like extra reach is really nice. This one actually doesn't go as far as that MT16 does. I thought I remember it going out further. This thing is like really tough though. But there's some selfie sticks out there that are longer. But the problem with that is then you get further away from the mic. So I get it. Yeah, that's something that I definitely hope they fix on the next line of this camera is making it a little bit wider for sure.
For sure. Anybody else got any questions about cameras?
You know what's funny, Paul? Just bought this. So I just paid for this. This just went. Oh, by the way, anyone who's looking for this camera right now too, this thing just went on sale through the one Insta360's website as well as like Amazon. I think it's like $40 off right now or something like that.
Right.
Which is if you guys ever buy stuff like this too, Amazon is a good place for that because you can get the like insurance policies with them. You can get them sometimes at like B&H as well, but when you're buying something that's like an action camera, you want to pay the $30 to protect this thing for 3 years because it's a no questions asked. Like you break it, you send it in, you get a new one, or they fix it, or whatever the case is. So I got about 1 more year left on this, Paul, and this thing's going to be off insurance. So I don't know. Do we break this thing before the year's up and get a new one? I don't know.
I would try it.
Break it.
Where'd you buy it from? B&H?
I bought mine from Amazon actually.
And you got the insurance through Amazon? Is that what it is?
Yep. Yeah, they have the I forget what it's called right offhand. I can tell you in a sec. It's ASURION, Azuron protection or something like that. It's the same thing that you can get on B&H, and that's the same thing I used for my A7S III as well. I think I bought a 3-year for that one.
Ooh, all right. I have a great video on this actually on my channel, all about memory cards, and it's mainly around the A7 C. But I think if you listen to the video, a lot of the same stuff really applies. If you're looking for, because the A7 4 takes a CF Express A card, which I mean that thing is mad expensive, and I mean they're really good. Those tough ones, and then there's a pro grade makes one that's like 30 or 40 bucks cheaper, but uh, they're still really expensive. So I wouldn't be buying. I don't buy them for my A7S3. I like to buy the Sony Tough V60 cards because with my EDU discount, they're about the same price as a pro grade card. But if you don't have the EDU discount or you can't get that option, the Sony cards are still great, and they're real. I mean, they really are tough. It's hard to break them. It's hard to, you know, sometimes they're really thick for some SD cards, even but the pro grades are fantastic. Kyle and I actually got one of the Lexar V90 cards, and those are great. But the thing is, you don't really need. Well, with the A7 4, you might need a V90 card for the 60.
No. You would only need it for 120. I don't remember. Does that camera do 240?
It does do 240. Yes.
If it does do if you're ever planning on doing 240 frames per second in HD quality, then you'll need a V90. Otherwise, a V60 I think is like the most you'll need. There might be some sort of burst mode with the camera that would require a V90, but I don't think there is. Because there isn't
and it's
on
just
this
really
one.
about how much you want to be, how many burst photos you want to hold that thing down and just be able to fill the card up real quickly, or do you what kind of shooting style you do. But for video stuff, I think V60s will be perfectly fine for the
So I got this, Paul. Focus. These are reflective. I have been buying the Lexar ones lately because usually they're less expensive and they always have sales. Versus the pro grade, I think are just as good. They like these things are all about the same amount of price normally. It's just the Lexars always seem to be like, oh, hey, here's two 128 gig cards for 99 bucks or something, whatever it is. I don't know.
right.
And it'll be like, oh, that's a better deal because normally they're like $100. So I can't even remember the V60 ones anymore. I've been looking at V90s now.
Right, because again, with our A7S3s, we really want that V90s for the 120, S&Q modes and stuff like that.
But I would say ProGrade or Lexar V60 is like the most you would probably need with that camera ever, unless you're shooting 240 frames per second. In S&Q, you can shoot 240, I think, in normal. No, you can only do it in S&Q. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, if you want to spend more on Sony and stuff like that, but the Lexar and ProGrade always they pop up all the time in Amazon with like good deals, or even B&H Photo. So
Corp discount via BH. What's the corp discount? Let me know.
Corporate. You must have a
corporate
corporate account.
I know what corporate. I don't know. I haven't heard of a corporate discount.
It's probably the same discount that you have, Paul. But yeah, I haven't, like some people say like, oh, Lexars suck. They always create issues and dropped whatever. I've never had a problem with the Lexars, and I've never had a problem with the pro grades. In fact, I've never had a problem with SanDisk on my normal cards as well. So I don't know. I've been lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the Lexar, and it's great for that V90 card is fantastic. It was way cheaper than the Sony Tough ones. The V60, I would just compare pricing. If you look at the pricing for the V60 cards of either the Lexar Pro Grade or the Sony Tough card, the M version that are V60s, I would buy whichever one is the cheapest. I personally, if the Sony Tough cards are, I don't know, like difference of like 10, 15, maybe $20, it's maybe worth it. But I've been, like really enjoying the Lexar card as well. So I'd say, get whatever.
Yeah, I bought the 256 gig card because I like being able to have a thing. There's a lot of issues with people saying don't get 256 because it's you can put too much on your card, and then if your card does go corrupt or if you lose it, you lose a lot. But honestly, I feel like I always format my card like every other time I go out anyways. So like I just like having that extra space in case I need it. So otherwise the 128s, I think I filled up one card one time, Paul. And that was
Yeah.
that whole video where I did nothing but 120 frames per second in S&Q, which is just like a data hog. So
Yeah, the SanDisk Pro are definitely the way to go for the ZV-1. The reason why is because they're fast, they're
$20.
cheap,
Yeah.
and reliable. So, I mean, that's why people always suggest that card, because it is. I mean, I have one, and I think it started cracking. No questions asked. I emailed SanDisk, and they sent me a new one, and the one I had a 95 megabits per second one, and they sent me 170. So they sent me the upgraded one, because when I bought it, that one wasn't even out yet. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
So I know this question is kind of already, we talked about it, but like that's another thing about picking the right camera for your stuff too. If you guys want to go out and spend more money on a better camera, you better be aware that you're going to be paying more money for SD cards, because the SD cards required for something like the A7 IV and A7S III. I didn't think about that when I bought the camera, and then because I'm used to these SanDisk Extremes, which are what, $20, some 16 sometimes. I have like 40 of these 128 gig cards also in the same like micro SD card version.
Right.
And these are great. They're perfect for A7, the A6400 and the ZV-E10 and ZV-1. But I can't use these anymore. I can put them in the A7S III, but I'd have to put everything down to 8-bit and couldn't use the camera for its potential. So
right, and if you're going to buy an expensive camera, you want to be able to use all the expensive camera features. So.
Yeah. And keep in
A
mind,
lot
if
of
you
things
buy,
people don't think about that at all. They're like, "Oh, I'll just use I got SD cards laying around the house. I'll just buy them." Nope, no.
And then also the same thing goes with, like let's just, for instance, Cody Blue. He's going to be also on this show at some point here. He went out finally and bought the A7S III, and he actually bought an A7 IV. I'm sorry,
4.
He was using the A7 III for a long time, and one of the first things after he got the camera was just his complaint was, crap, I need more expensive SD cards, and I have to spend like $3,000 on a computer to be able to use this stupid camera in 10-bit, because he made that jump, and now all of a sudden his workflow is so different. And I kind of thought for a little bit there that he was going to just like up and sell that camera and be like, we don't need it, because his channel was looking just fine with what he was using. So
I mean, when you're as big as him and you're still using the A7 III and it's working, nobody's complaining. That's the thing. You got to factor in all these costs and say, is it really worth it for you? I mean, you're doing a YouTube channel with less views. Do people really care about your video quality at this point? No. So, sometimes buying the most expensive camera that has the most beautiful footage is going to be terrible for your workflows, terrible for your SD cards. There's so many more things to consider than just the cost of the camera. It's just so much more.
Well, like I said, that Apple event's coming out in a week, and they better announce a new iMac, because I need to buy one, because my built-out iMac that I'm shooting on right now does not like to edit 120 frames per second footage unless it's rendered in S&Q already. But that's why I do a lot of S&Q, Pauls, because my computer just hates 120 frames per second in 10-bit color. And it's one of those things where it's like this $3,500 camera is costing me an extra $2,000 now, because I have to buy a new computer to even use half the functions of this camera. So it kind of stinks.
Well, that is the truth. That is the truth. So, any last questions for anybody out here? We'll give you a few more minutes as we just get ready to end this stream. Just want to open up the floor for any last questions that are maybe strangling on your minds. But yeah, the bottom line of today's stream is, man, just shoot with what you got, see how it works. If it doesn't work for you, or you feel like it's slacking in something, then sure, upgrade. But sometimes the best upgrade isn't always the best upgrade for you. So at the end of the day, that's what we got to consider. It doesn't look like there's a lot less questions going on, and it's been an hour, and Kyle and I got some stuff.
I do want to add something too. Like I was watching am I saying it right when I say Shelda art? that? I would guess
It
that's
seems
right.
right. Yeah.
Probably his last name, I'm guessing too. I looked at a few of his videos the other day, and I would say definitely you should. What did he write? Oh, okay. I feel like your channel is like screaming for some shorts. Like I want to see some shorts on your videos too. I think your channel can blow the heck up really quick if you do some like kind of Instagrammy reel kind of stuff as well. As in addition to like the long content stuff. Um, I get sucked in on all those like you ever, Paul, have you ever scroll through something and you just see someone like starting to do like there's that one guy who spray paints stuff and just like wipes everything around and keeps spray painting on top of stuff, and next thing you know it's this just ridiculous painting, and then you just get sucked into those things as they go and you're just like, I can't look away. I got to watch this whole
Right.
video now. And I feel like having those kind of channels are yeah, he said right there, a good call. I posted a reel day, hit 3,000. You know how hard it is sometimes to hit 3,000 views on a reel?
It's hard.
Or it's random. Like I put one video up of me skating on my boosted board and it 3,000. Then all my fun stuff getting like nothing. So, but his channel is gonna be nice because he can have the ability to do some of those cool shorts inside of like his long content as well, which is gonna be kind of fun.
Acres appreciates you're on Kyle's channel, so if you don't know, we actually stream this channel this stream on both my channel and Kyle's channel just to kind of broaden out our audiences. I guess it does make it a little more confusing for some people, but I'm assuming you meant subscribe to Kyle's channel. Yes, Kyle is fantastic, so we appreciate that sub. Feel free to go by and check out my channel if you got some time. I posted links in the chat, so you can go ahead and click on both those. Both on my channel, if you are not subscribed to Kyle, please go check him out. I mean, if you like my stuff, Kyle's stuff is like 20 times better because he's amazing. But well, you know, he's really good at getting those edits out and everything. But yeah, we stream every Wednesday night right now at 9:30, with the exception of probably next week since we have Chris Brockhurst and his schedule he wants to be really at 9:00, and we're kind of playing it by ear right now. But that's tentatively what we're doing. Who knows? We might change it. We might change it, bump it to 9:00 for good. We're trying to get this consistent on both channels so that you guys know when to expect it. But we've typically been doing them at 9:30. What do you say about that?
It's a little tough because what we want, like, it has to be late enough for the West Coast.
Correct.
Because some people are busy and they can't come and join our show at 5:00 in the afternoon. So we like to push it to at least that like 6:30 where people are who might have full-time jobs get home, they're done eating, whatever, but still not too late to where like guests are saying that's past my bedtime, which still like, I'm sorry, I'm a night owl, so I'll be up till 3 a.m. anyways. But so we're trying to find that nice middle ground that also works for us too. So but next week when you show up, it's going to look probably a little bit more like this. Just a little sample there.
Oh, you're just giving away it all, making the camera camp logo a little bit smaller.
That's just a little rough. That's a rough edit. So we're got some funny, cheesy, like Paul, like think summer camp in the 90s.
Yeah.
Camp Anawana. We're trying to go some kind of goofy theming a little bit. And
so Acres, we're East Coast here. I'm a Central Florida boy right here, so I'm just outside of Orlando. So I go to I have a Disney pass. I got SeaWorld passes. We go to the parks like every weekend. So, where on the East Coast do you live, bro? And Kyle always likes to get out of the cold of Minnesota, and he likes going to the parks. So he occasionally will fly down and visit me. But I think now we're due to go back up and visit him. So we're waiting for it to warm back up.
I think we should just make a trip to go somewhere else, like New York or Texas. Or
my wife would be down for that. We also talk about California, like going up. I have a friend that lives in California, and I could crash at his place. And I think he said he has an extra bedroom, so maybe we could all just crash.
And then we just call Jared Spink when we're down there and say, "Hey, we're down the street. We're gonna crash at your house tonight. Is that okay?"
Yeah, we're having a crash party.
Austin in the house too. I was on a call today before this live stream, Paul. I've been live streaming since like 6. At a Cuts ambassador meeting, and our central time group zone is all people from Texas. That's it, and like one guy from Chicago. So I just like I love making like Texas jokes all the time when I get on the stream there with them. Like
Oh,
one
that's
day
so
we,
mean.
well, they got me though because there's one where the Vikings played the Cowboys like the week before or that same week, and they gave me some crap for that. So,
It's not America's team. I'm sorry. It's
but
not.
everyone when they say Central Time Zone, it's funny how many people are just like Texas. that's it. So
I want to go. Like I said, I want to go to Austin so I can. I've never been to Austin before, but I think it's fairly close to Sidney DeYoung's and in McKinney, Texas. So I'd love to stop by there too.
Ravens all day. All right, that's fine.
A Ravens fan here.
I kind of made the joke the other day, Paul, that Shelda Art looks a little bit like a nice version of Dobo, Kevin Dobo or
I
Ken Dobo.
texted a picture of him on one of his recent thumbnail. He looks like an older version of Dobo with that like grayed beard and the glasses on. And Dobo responded with LMA or whatever.
Hey, Shaw, does anyone ever give you like Sam Bradford like doppelganger? Because I get that a little bit too. He should do like a Sam Bradford parody.
Yeah. Sydney is doing a creators in coffee. I'd love to hit that up.
He did one last time virtually. You were on that for a second, Paul. I think you were sleeping, but yeah, he's doing another one. I feel like I wish he would do one on a weekend because I can literally just drive down the street, get on 35W, and be in Texas in no time. And by no time, I mean like 13 hours, but it's just a straight shot all the way down to Texas. So Oklahoma in the house.
Yeah, we got some more people in the house from Oklahoma. Cool. So yeah, Acres is north of Titusville. Yeah, I figured that when you said SpaceX and NASA near Titusville area. My dad actually used to live in Cocoa, and he built back in the day when I was a youngling, was working on the U.S. space station. So
I talked to Sydney about this, Paul, and this is something that I would like to do at some point again. I have to go back because I've been there when I was a kid, but like a little bit north of, I don't know what city in Texas, but it's in like New Mexico, I think, just across the border. It's a place called Carlsbad Caverns. Just ridiculous. It's like there's a thing called the Big Room. It's a big underground cave, probably one of the bigger ones in the world, I'm guessing. The Big Room, someone said that you could fit like the Metrodome inside of this place.
Wow.
And like the Metrodome is not US Bank Stadium like it is in Minnesota now. That's smaller than that, but like that was still a full, big, huge baseball/football stadium.
Right.
And this place was so like when I was 17 years old going on my trip with the parents down to this place, I was just kind of bored and like being pulled away from my friends. But then when I went there, I was just like, oh my gosh, this place is awesome. I want to go back there. And I talked to Sydney about it, and he was like, heck yeah, that looks awesome. So at some point we need to make a trip down there with him and go to Carlsbad Caverns.
Let's do it.
And then you can go to Roswell too, because it's not that far from it, I don't think. For Roswell is just a goofy alien themed city.
Creator Camp Meetup 101. All right, got it.
South Dakota guy. All right.
South Dakota.
Oh, speaking of which, I need to get together with we're converting over Caleb. Caleb's been asking
he wants to try your A7S3. We're gonna convert him over from Panasonic. Come on, let's do it. Another Sony fanboy in the house. Come on.
It makes me wonder if he was disappointed with the GH6.
Well, is a great camera, but he was totally expecting it to have autofocus that worked and implement phase detect. He was not expecting them to be stupid enough not to do it yet again. But I was kind of expecting them to be stupid enough to do it again because their track record speaks otherwise. But I'm
thinking Shelda Art, he put Kyle again with a bunch of pointy things. I'm guessing his yes is to a Sam Bradford thing reference. I don't know. I think everybody looks like someone, so Don't take any offense to it if we
will be
did.
another one of our guests in the future for sure on the creative.
Again, yeah.
We'll wait till he joins the Sony family, and then we'll allow him on our stream.
Yeah. I'm also reaching out, Paul, to some other guests on this channel. We need to have some videos up first before I want to ask some of these people. But
Right.
I have been friends and talked to a band called why am I brain farting on this?
Boyce Avenue.
Hold on. I'm just Our Last Night. Duh. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for a second. These guys are like a legit band, but they started a YouTube channel and they started doing like metal cover, like rock metal covers of stuff. And they got so freaking popular off that stuff that they do one of them, they do like a cover, like 1 or 2 a month. They have 2.3 million subscribers on their channel. They just put out a, Encanto. Is it Encanto or Encanto?
Encanto.
They put out the Surface Pressure cover the other day, and it's just like it's got 400,000 views on it already. But this band is awesome. But I kind of want to bring on, a couple of the guys from the band to talk more about YouTube, because I think that's one element they don't get to ever talk about. Is they talk about their music and how they record stuff, but we don't think of things like that as like creators. But these guys literally make music videos for every one of their like covers in their own studio that they built. They have like cinema cameras. They use Canon C70s and sometimes, and like they have like a legit filmmaking background, but they never get to talk about that because it's like, it's not their thing.
Right.
And I want to bring them on the channel.
A lot of channels that we're going to, I'm friends with one of the guys that he owns. He runs a YouTube channel that does a similar thing, but instead of it being metal, he does like, guitar tutorials for various like worship songs for the churches and stuff like that. I think it's really cool to talk to some of these guys just to see, because they have a huge background in cameras. The guys, he's moved from Sony to Panasonic to Canon, all these are over the years of doing these channels, and they've got a big background in video, and they never get to talk about it. And it's not like we're going to be talking just about video. We kind of want to let them open up and to kind of describe them and their channel a little bit, but then we want to kind of get nerd out so we'll have like different sections probably breaking out.
Yeah, we'll probably have some dirt that we'll dig up on them too and bring up, some embarrassing stuff maybe, but it's still stuff that I want to do that you would be talking about, around we're going to have a segment, Paul, that we have to have it the one time at Camera Camp. And it's the theme to that, Paul, is going to be having them tell a story of some kind of embarrassing thing that happened to them when they were filming or shooting a video, or maybe they got to a set and they forgot their camera or something like that. I want to have some kind of segment like that, but I also I've reached out to a few channels. I really want to get Justin Scard, who's a guy who never talks about his camera stuff, never talks about his like actual physical working on his YouTube channel, but he's got an awesome Disney Route 66 kind of Comic Con-y channel that's like really awesome and fun to watch. And I've seen some pictures. Sometimes you'll post like, oh, almost done editing a video, and you look at his timeline on the picture and you're like, this is a freaking Hollywood movie. What is this? Like, there's like 9 rows high of like different videos and clips, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how does he put out hour-long videos like every other day? Like him and Adam the Woo are like the same. They do the same stuff, and it's just like, how do you do this? Like, how do you not burn out? And he's got thousands of videos that are over an hour long.
Akers wants a link to that metal band, so can you post it?
Oh, yeah. Their new song is actually pretty cool.
And one thing to note, we are switching. When we switch the stream, we're going to try to be as respectful to our guests and to you guys as much as possible. So we're going to definitely keep it at 1 hour. So unless our guests share an interest, but we still typically want to try to keep it at 1 hour, just so that we're not sometimes the guests will be like, oh yeah, I'm fine with staying, but they really don't want to. So I want to try to respect our guests and our audience and keep it straight to 1 hour. Plus it'll help with if we're going to post it on a podcast as well, to keep that consistent. So
I mean, if they want to keep talking, I'm going to keep talking, but some people, like, we're not going to steal their time. So
Right. We can't we got to let Chris Brockhurst go to bed on time. So next week we're for sure going to end on time. And
Hope he
or
watches
maybe
this
at least
video.
let the guests go, and then we can finish out the night
Yeah,
by
for sure.
rounding up comments or questions. So anyway, it's been a long night. Got an hour and 20 minutes going. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Thank you guys for the new subscribers for both Kyle and I for tonight. And stay tuned for next week as we are starting this brand new endeavor of the Creator Camp. But you know what? Since Kyle spoiled one thing, we will leave you with this. So we'll see you guys in the future, and have a great night.
Is this gonna be the outro?